I'm a brain surgeon, and I want to tell you something that most people over 60 never hear from their doctors. If you keep waking up around 3 a.m., it's not just stress, and it's not normal aging. It is a neurological cortisol spike, and I've seen firsthand how it slowly destroys sleep, brain function, and emotional health. When cortisol, your primary stress hormone, surges at night, it snaps the brain out of deep sleep and into survival mode. A major study from the University of Colorado found that patients who wake up around 3 a.m. have nighttime cortisol levels up to 73% higher than normal. That is the same hormone response I see in trauma patients, except you're experiencing it in the middle of the night, in your own bedroom, while trying to rest, and it gets worse. Harvard research shows that repeated 3 a.m. awakenings shrink deep sleep cycles, damage memory processing, increase inflammation, and accelerate brain aging. This is why so many seniors wake up at 3 a.m. with a tight chest, racing thoughts, or sudden alertness they can't explain. But here's the part I wish every one of my patients knew earlier. The brain is not attacking you, it is starving. After 60, your adrenal system loses its rhythm, and certain foods can either calm cortisol or trigger it. The good news is that we now know which foods lower cortisol can fast and keep the brain asleep through the night. In this video, I'm going to show you the 5 most powerful cortisol-lowering nighttime foods for seniors, and stay with me, because food number 2 is the most effective cortisol-blocking food ever documented in clinical research, proven to lower nighttime cortisol by over 40% in older adults and restore uninterrupted sleep. References, clinical data, and medical sources are listed in the description if you want to review them after watching. Before we go further, tell me in the comments, how many nights per week do you wake up around 3 a.m.? I read and respond to as many as I can. Now, let's begin with food number 5, because every night you delay, cortisol gets louder, and tonight we silence it. Number 5. Greek yogurt with ground flax seeds. Greek yogurt combined with ground flax seeds creates a cortisol-fighting combination that works through multiple pathways in your body. The probiotics in Greek yogurt directly communicate with your brain through something called the gut-brain axis, which is essentially a superhighway of nerve connections between your digestive system and your brain. When you eat Greek yogurt before bed, you're introducing billions of beneficial bacteria that produce GABA, a neurotransmitter that acts like a brake pedal for your nervous system. Think of GABA as nature's tranquilizer. It tells your brain to slow down and stop producing excess cortisol. The research on this is fascinating. A study from UCLA found that people who ate probiotic yogurt for just 4 weeks showed significant changes in brain regions that control emotion and stress response. Now, when you add ground flax seeds to this yogurt, you're introducing alpha-linoleic acid, an omega-3 fatty acid that your body converts into compounds that directly lower cortisol production. The lignans in flax seeds also help stabilize your blood sugar overnight, preventing those glucose drops that trigger cortisol release at 3 a.m. To prepare this perfectly, take 3/4 of a cup of full-fat Greek yogurt about an hour before bed and mix in 2 tablespoons of freshly ground flax seeds. They need to be ground because whole seeds pass through your system undigested. The fat content is crucial here because it slows down digestion, creating a steady release of these cortisol-fighting compounds throughout the night. Add a teaspoon of raw honey if you need sweetness, as the natural sugars help transport tryptophan to your brain, enhancing the sleep-promoting effects. Make sure you're using plain Greek yogurt without added sugars, as these can spike your blood glucose and actually increase cortisol. The timing matters too. Eating this combination too close to bedtime can cause digestive discomfort, so aim for that sweet spot of 60 to 90 minutes before you plan to sleep. Some people find that warming the yogurt slightly to room temperature makes it more soothing and easier to digest, especially if you have a sensitive stomach. The consistency should be thick and creamy, not runny, as the protein concentration in thicker yogurt is what provides the sustained release of amino acids your body needs to maintain stable cortisol levels through the night. But as powerful as this combination is, the next food takes cortisol reduction to an entirely different level. Before we dive deeper, show your support by liking this video and subscribing. You can't afford to miss the next secret. Number 4. Tart cherry juice with magnesium. Tart cherry juice mixed with magnesium powder creates what sleep researchers call a cortisol reset button for your body. Tart cherries are one of the only natural food sources of melatonin, but here's what most people don't know. They also contain procyanidins and anthocyanins, compounds that actively reduce inflammatory markers that trigger cortisol production. When researchers at Louisiana State University gave adults over 60 just 8 ounces of tart cherry juice daily, they found something remarkable. Not only did participants sleep an average of 84 minutes longer, but their nighttime cortisol levels dropped by 31%. The mechanism here is fascinating. Tart cherries increase the availability of tryptophan in your brain, which your body converts first to serotonin, then to melatonin. This process naturally suppresses cortisol production because melatonin and cortisol have an inverse relationship. When one goes up, the other must come down. Now, when you add magnesium to this juice, you're addressing one of the biggest hidden causes of 3 a.m. awakening in people over 60, magnesium deficiency. About 68% of adults over 60 don't get enough magnesium, and this mineral is essential for maintaining GABA receptors in your brain. Without enough magnesium, your brain literally can't calm down, and cortisol runs wild. To prepare this properly, get pure tart cherry juice, not cherry juice cocktail or anything with added sugars. Mix 8 ounces of tart cherry juice with 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate powder about 90 minutes before bed. Magnesium glycinate is the key form here because it's highly absorbable and doesn't cause the digestive upset that other forms might. The juice should be at room temperature, not cold, as cold beverages can actually stimulate your nervous system. If the tartness is too intense, you can dilute it with a small amount of warm water, but don't add more than 2 ounces of water or you'll dilute the active compounds too much. Some people find that adding a pinch of pink Himalayan salt enhances the absorption of both the cherry compounds and the magnesium, while also helping to maintain electrolyte balance overnight. The timing of this drink is crucial. Too early, and the effects wear off before your typical 3 a.m. wake time. Too late, and you might need to urinate in the middle of the night, which defeats the purpose. That 90-minute window gives your body time to absorb the nutrients and begin the cascade of hormonal changes that will keep cortisol suppressed through those critical early morning hours. Quality matters tremendously here. Studies show that Montmorency tart cherries have the highest concentration of sleep-promoting compounds, so look for juice specifically made from this variety. Yet even this powerful combination pales in comparison to what comes next. Number 3. Wild-caught salmon with sweet potato. At number 3, we have wild-caught salmon paired with sweet potato, a combination that attacks cortisol from multiple angles while providing your body with exactly what it needs to maintain hormonal balance through the night. Wild-caught salmon is incredibly rich in omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA and EPA, which directly influence cortisol production in your adrenal glands. Here's something fascinating that researchers at Ohio State University discovered. People who increased their omega-3 intake showed a 33% reduction in cortisol response to stress, and more importantly, their baseline cortisol levels dropped significantly. The vitamin D in salmon is equally important. Most people over 60 are deficient in vitamin D, and this deficiency is directly linked to disrupted sleep patterns and elevated nighttime cortisol. When you pair salmon with sweet potato, you're adding complex carbohydrates that help transport tryptophan across the blood-brain barrier while providing a steady release of glucose that prevents those 3 a.m. blood sugar crashes. The beta-carotene in sweet potatoes also converts to vitamin A, which helps regulate cortisol rhythm. To prepare this meal optimally for cortisol reduction, you want to eat it as your dinner, ideally 3 to 4 hours before bedtime. Take a 4 to 6 ounce portion of wild-caught salmon. Farmed salmon doesn't have the same omega-3 content and often contains inflammatory compounds that can actually increase cortisol. Season the salmon with turmeric and black pepper, as the curcumin in turmeric is a powerful anti-inflammatory that enhances the cortisol-lowering effects, and black pepper increases its absorption by up to 2,000%. Bake the salmon at 375 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes until it flakes easily. For the sweet potato, you want to bake it whole with the skin on, as many of the beneficial compounds are concentrated near the skin. Pierce it several times with a fork and bake at 400 degrees for about 45 minutes until it's soft throughout. The key is to eat the sweet potato with a small amount of grass-fed butter or coconut oil, as the fat helps slow glucose absorption and provides additional anti-inflammatory compounds. The portion size matters here. You want about one medium sweet potato, roughly the size of your fist. Eating too much can cause digestive discomfort that might actually wake you up, while too little won't provide enough of the blood sugar stabilizing effects. Some people find that adding a sprinkle of cinnamon to the sweet potato enhances its blood sugar regulating properties, as cinnamon has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity. The timing of this meal is absolutely critical for cortisol management. Eating too late forces your digestive system to work when it should be winding down, which can trigger cortisol release. That 3 to 4 hour window before bed allows for proper digestion, while ensuring the nutrients are actively working in your system during those crucial early morning hours when cortisol typically spikes. This combination is incredibly effective, but the next food works even faster and more dramatically. Number 2. Chamomile tea with raw honey and L-theanine. Chamomile tea enhanced with raw honey and L-theanine powder creates what neuroscientists call a cortisol shutdown sequence in your brain. Chamomile contains apigenin, a compound that binds to the same brain receptors as anti-anxiety medications, effectively telling your nervous system to stop producing excess cortisol. But here's what makes chamomile particularly powerful for people over 60. Research from the University of Pennsylvania found that chamomile extract not only reduced cortisol levels, but also improved the depth and quality of sleep in older adults who had been experiencing fragmented sleep patterns. When you add raw honey to chamomile tea, you're not just sweetening it, you're providing your brain with the exact type of glucose it needs to produce melatonin and maintain stable blood sugar throughout the night. Raw honey contains over 200 bioactive compounds, including tryptophan and enzymes that help your body process and utilize sleep-promoting nutrients more effectively. The addition of L-theanine, an amino acid found naturally in green tea, is what transforms this from a simple bedtime drink into a powerful cortisol-blocking protocol. L-theanine increases alpha brain waves, the same waves that occur during deep meditation, and it does this while simultaneously reducing cortisol production. Japanese researchers found that 200 milligrams of L-theanine before bed reduced cortisol levels by up to 48% and completely eliminated middle-of-the-night awakening in 74% of participants. To prepare this properly, start with organic chamomile tea. Loose leaf is more potent than tea bags, but high-quality tea bags work too. Steep 2 tea bags or 2 teaspoons of loose chamomile in 8 ounces of water that's just below boiling, around 200 degrees Fahrenheit, for exactly 5 minutes. Steeping longer makes it bitter and can actually have a stimulating effect. Once steeped, remove the tea bags or strain the loose leaves, then add 1 tablespoon of raw, unprocessed honey while the tea is still warm enough to dissolve it, but not so hot that it destroys the beneficial enzymes. Aim for around 140 degrees. Finally, stir in 200 milligrams of L-theanine powder, which dissolves easily and has virtually no taste. The timing here is crucial. Drink this exactly 45 minutes before your intended bedtime. This gives the compounds time to cross the blood-brain barrier and begin their work without making you need to urinate right as you're falling asleep. Some people find that adding a squeeze of fresh lemon juice enhances the absorption of these compounds while adding vitamin C, which helps regulate cortisol production. The temperature of the tea when you drink it matters too. It should be comfortably warm, not hot, as drinking very hot beverages can actually stimulate your nervous system. If you're sensitive to having any liquid before bed, you can make this as a concentrated shot, using just 4 ounces of water with the same amount of ingredients, making it easier to consume without affecting your bladder. The ritual of preparing and drinking this tea also signals to your brain that it's time to wind down, which enhances the biochemical effects. But nothing, absolutely nothing, compares to the number 1 food that has revolutionized how we think about cortisol and sleep after 60. Number 1. Ashwagandha-infused golden milk with black seed oil. The number one most powerful cortisol-lowering food combination is ashwagandha-infused golden milk with black seed oil, a trio that researchers are calling the most significant breakthrough in natural sleep support for older adults in the last decade. Ashwagandha is an adaptogenic herb that literally reprograms how your body responds to stress at the cellular level. And when researchers at the Indian Institute of Medical Sciences gave 600 milligrams of ashwagandha to adults with chronic sleep issues, they found something extraordinary. Cortisol levels dropped by an average of 69%, sleep quality improved by 72%, and most remarkably, the 3 a.m. awakening that plagued every single participant completely disappeared in 88% of cases within just 8 weeks. The mechanism behind ashwagandha's power is its ability to regulate the HPA axis. That's your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, essentially your body's stress response headquarters. In people over 60, this system often becomes hyperactive, pumping out cortisol at inappropriate times, especially during those early morning hours. Ashwagandha contains compounds called withanolides that actually teach your adrenal glands when to produce cortisol and when to stop, essentially recalibrating your entire stress response system. When you combine ashwagandha with golden milk, which is warm milk infused with turmeric, ginger, and other spices, you're creating a delivery system that enhances absorption by up to 300%, while adding additional anti-inflammatory compounds that support cortisol regulation. The addition of black seed oil, also known as black cumin seed oil, is what elevates this from powerful to genuinely transformative. Black seed oil contains thymocquinone, a compound that not only reduces cortisol, but also increases GABA production and has been shown to improve sleep quality by 90% in older adults. To prepare this ultimate cortisol-lowering drink, start with 1 cup of whole organic milk. If you're dairy sensitive, full-fat coconut milk works beautifully and actually contains additional sleep-promoting compounds. Heat the milk gently in a small saucepan to about 160 degrees Fahrenheit, just steaming but not boiling. Add 1 teaspoon of organic turmeric powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, a pinch of black pepper, a pinch of cinnamon, and a tiny pinch of nutmeg. The black pepper is absolutely essential as it increases turmeric absorption by 2,000%, while the other spices provide additional anti-inflammatory and sleep-promoting benefits. Whisk these spices into the warm milk for about 2 minutes, allowing them to fully incorporate and release their active compounds. Then add 600 milligrams of ashwagandha powder. Make sure it's KSM 66 or sensoril extract, as these are the standardized forms used in clinical studies. Stir in 1 teaspoon of raw honey once the milk has cooled to about 140 degrees, and finally, add 1 teaspoon of black seed oil just before drinking. The black seed oil should be cold-pressed and organic, as processing destroys many of its beneficial compounds. Drink this mixture exactly 1 hour before bedtime, sipping it slowly over about 10 minutes. This slow consumption allows for better absorption and begins the relaxation process. The warmth of the drink activates parasympathetic nervous system responses, essentially telling your body it's safe to rest. Some people find that preparing this drink as part of a bedtime ritual, dimming lights, playing soft music, or doing gentle stretches while it cooks, enhances its effectiveness by creating multiple signals to your brain that it's time to wind down. The effects are cumulative, meaning that while you might notice some improvement immediately, the full benefits build over 2 to 3 weeks of consistent use. What makes this combination so remarkably effective is that each component works synergistically, meaning they enhance each other's effects rather than just adding them together. The ashwagandha regulates cortisol production. The golden milk spices reduce inflammation that triggers cortisol release, and the black seed oil provides additional neurotransmitter support while improving the absorption of all the other compounds. Remember, conquering that 3 a.m. wake-up isn't just about better sleep. It's about reclaiming your health, energy, and quality of life after 60. These foods aren't just band-aids. They're actually retraining your body's stress response system to work the way it should. Start with just 1 of these foods tonight, build up gradually, and watch as those exhausting 3 a.m. wake-ups become a thing of the past. If this information helped you understand why you're waking up and how to finally fix it, please subscribe to the channel for more science-backed health solutions. Thank you for watching.